Hello, I'm John Stephens, lead developer of Tyrant Games, and I'm making a game called Pluck Hearts. Although I've only just named it that, it was called Heart Swap for a while. We are currently looking through old versions of the game, just to see how far we've come. You can see I've now got a logo. Let's make this full screen. And what I guess a cutscene you could call it. Yes, I've now got a button that makes it full screen. Lovely. Press the A button to begin. So quite a lot of stuff happened between this version and the last version. You can see there's sound now, but no way to turn that sound down. So hopefully it's not too loud. So yes, I realised I'd have to start drawing things, and I drew clouds. You may have noticed the dude looks different. So the guy was an asset. He used to have a sword on his back and he was wearing different colour clothing. And he was like an adventurer you can get free on the internet. Eventually I want to completely replace him, but I just wanted to make him my own. He was supposed to sort of look like a scientist. The red is reminiscent of blood and like it's about hearts. And I have a new tutorial. Instead of signs, I now have words on the screen that you can walk past. Tilt the right analog stick to move. So now I've gone 100% onto the controller now. There's the A button to jump, and I still have this double jump. So hopefully, press A in the air to double jump. So I've explained that. So the reason there's clouds should make sense later. So we currently don't have my machine. With I drew everything apart from the dots in the background, which it's something I've been meaning to do. But you can hopefully see the clouds go far deep into the background. I wanted to make a world that was pre-reality, and I thought there'd be sort of a weird red shift going on. So the deeper into the background, the darker and redder it gets. And you can even see that I put a lot of effort into making it so the bits of background fade in and out of existence to make it look all kind of weird and otherworldly. The only problem with this is I did a lot of research into how games draw their platforms to make them clear. Like that's why there's this blue edge. And what they do is they get gradually darker. There's like a null color. So you draw earth or stone or wall, and if it's away from the player, it should just be black because you don't want the player looking in that direction. But the problem with clouds is clouds are floating, so they're never going to connect to a ground. So I decided for this place, the null colour would be white instead. So if the clouds get big enough, you can sort of see right there, hang on, that it's white. And so if the cloud ever gets really, really big, it's just going to be all white, which does sort of work, especially against the black background. But it just means I'm starting off with a sort of an exception. Anyway, let's actually play. So hold against the wall to slide down. So you can see I made these sort of green pipes and this semi-transparent cloud as well. You shouldn't be able to get up there. But yes, there's now a slide against the wall, which you have to hold down. But there's also a wall kick, which I did figure out. No, I didn't. What am I talking about? I tried and I struggled a lot and I had to get a tutorial. But you can see he knocks him sideways and up, and it's quite powerful. Because you've got to bear in mind that not only can you wall kick, but you can double jump as well. So I'm trying now to sort of gradually introduce elements to players. Like, oh look, there's a cloud that's in front of you, and oh look, there's this cloud here that you can't jump on. And I was hoping the player would do that and notice that. So you can already see this looks quite a lot like my newest version. It's quite different, I assure you, but this took a lot of work. There was a couple of people who played the first demo, and I realised all the things I'd need to do. Like, oh, I can't do this, I can't do that, it needs to be clear. And I talked about the clouds and how it would work like that. So press down to fall through these clouds. Now it works on the controller, and you can jump up. These are the same as the other ledges from the first demo, but now this has a skill-based thing where you can't get here without doing a proper jump. You can't do double jump up there. So this is... you can see now the white of the cloud because it's null. This is the end of the level, which I don't think I ever explained. So this music I did write, but I didn't write for the game. It's just music I wrote ages ago. I think there's a few songs in here, but it's going to get annoying. There's a randomizer, and you shouldn't play the same song twice, but it will go back and forth. Anyway, I'm going to now have to climb back up there, aren't I? Yes, I am. Okay. But yeah, I'm reasonably happy with this demo, but I learned a bunch of things that I had to change. So I think this took... If the first demo was just a month of me learning how to even program, I think this was 2 months. I'm not 100% sure though. But this one is Ovi, the witness, first of the monoliths. Approach and she will remember your deeds. So I don't know why I decided I'd talk entirely in flowery language. It's a save point. If I quit and load the game, it will start here. And this thing hasn't been explained yet. But the small one is Voa, the nostalgic. We will speak of him later. That means the ball. So one thing that's kind of annoying is I'm not pointing at the things I'm referring to. It was actually my brother that said, why not have an arrow? And it's like, yeah, why not have an arrow? Why would I not make it easy for people? So here's wall jumping. So controversially, is it controversial? I don't know. I took out wall jumping and double jump for the next version because these are all skill-based actions. They might come back in, but I want, like, a lot of people just struggled just getting the double jumps working and getting the wall kick working. Because I was like, yeah, this is a puzzle game, and suddenly they were having to do skill things. So this hopefully works. It might break. So the fatty code is a bit broken. If something breaks, then exit game and try again. So there you go. I figured out how to do a push barrel. There is tutorials on the internet, but like every time I tried it, I just couldn't get it to work. And this gets changed. I just don't like the code. It is genuinely a little bit broken. And there you go. There's an alternative ledge that I can go up and down. So I did draw this amber. It's the best thing I've drawn so far. And you can see this little cloud here that I can jump through. So the birth of these, the shelf clouds, the Arcus. I forgot they were called Arcus. They're called Nimbuses now. Will happily take you to places. So hopefully he doesn't turn around anymore. Yes. There's this little jumping section, which again shouldn't have put a jumping section in a tutorial. Don't know why I have all these skill checks right here, but I wanted to show people subtly. Like, you see that invisible cloud there? It's going through the other cloud. So there's this orange cloud that's touching the orange walls. There is this white cloud that's going to knock me off, that's touching the orange walls. But this white seafood cloud goes through the clouds, but doesn't go through the orange walls. And that's important, because I realised if I'm going to be able to turn moving objects off, I still need to stop them, otherwise they'll just leave the screen. And so amber stops stuff. So that amber, you can see, and I wanted it to be an invisible tutorial. I wanted clever players to be able to pick up on this. That was it. I guess, but like nobody went, hey John, you subtly taught me a thing. Like, yeah, maybe it's a good idea, maybe not. So one thing I put an awful lot of effort in. This one is Qual, the Promethean, second of the monoliths. Return when you can see into his hut. He will bestow onto you a gift. Okay, what does that mean? I don't know, John. Why did you... I do know what it means, but like... So one thing I put a lot of effort into is these things called monoliths. I realised... So the denizens, as I like to call them, are sort of your gameplay element where you can swap parts. But I wanted to have a sort of not meta element, like doors. How do you finish levels? How do you go from A to B? That's not a puzzle. I was like, monoliths will be that sort of secondary object that'll do things but aren't as puzzly. I hope that makes sense. So if I go up here, here's the heart swap engine, and my tutorials are all over the place. You've got to like make sure you maneuver to the correct part of the room. There's no way of like testing out this. Yeah, I pick up that. Tilt the right analog stick to aim the heart strings, which is a thing apparently. So yes, this is where all my work went into, having this point at things and scan, and I had to make it so walls block the sight, and I had to have these dots. That doesn't do anything. So you can see this green cloud here blocks the sight. So because I wanted it so you could walk through it, but you couldn't scan through it, which is quite important. So now I can scan onto the. So you notice if you watch the first episode, there's a thing that tells you what the heart is. That was a new feature that wasn't in this version. So if I take that, it goes into there, and you cannot jump. So you'll notice you're funneled now downwards. And I blocked the exit just in case you were standing there. So the reason I did this is because for two reasons. One, if you have the ability to make a thing solid, then it's possible to shoot it into there and jump at the same time and trap yourself in it. And I didn't want to figure out the programming to that, so I was like, fine. When you're carrying a heart, a clay heart, you're not going to be able to jump. Because I thought, well, that's sort of interesting puzzly. But like, there's no indication. There's a later version of this that does. And people just hated it. People were really confused. Oh, is it broken? Clay heart mixing solid. There you go, there's another save. And I decided, generally speaking, if it has eyes, it probably has a heart. So you can see, it shows the heart there. So lots of people just clicked on it. I hadn't explained how to shoot yet. But like the whole point is you can't shoot a heart into it because it's already got a heart. But I haven't explained that. So people just go like that. But you can see that it does a scanning reticle and it's all red. But that's the length of the line. I had one of the things I was kind of proud of is that the line shortens. And I figured out all the maths. And I had to make a spreadsheet of what was the most logical positions for the dots and all the different lengths. Because it needs to be readable immediately. While you bear a heart, it may come with a condition, granting you a burden or a gift. In this case, you are grounded. So yeah, people didn't get what I meant by that, because it's in flowery language. So again, here's another thing: you can scan it, you can tell it's got a heart, but I've not really explained it, so people were kind of confused. I funnel people here into this room, and I put a lot of effort into what it looks like. So this one is Locke, the covetous, third of the monoliths. Gift him with all that he desires, and he will open the way forwards. So the way this guy works is, you see this cloud underneath him? It's currently not solid, right? It's hollow. But if I give him all the hearts, he will transfer that solidness to the ground, making a bridge. And yeah, it took me a lot of work. I was really happy with his design and conceptually. But the problem with him is that it means I have to make these bloody bridges everywhere, and I have to have this sort of hollow bit underneath so I don't trap myself in the bridge, because I hadn't figured out that code yet. So, V0.2 the Nostalgic, I believe you've met. If you've made a mistake, press the Y button. You will return to the nearest V0.2, and all your changes will be undone. So I can now load my game. I've sped that up. So this is, I guess, a version of this puzzle will be in the game. So the other thing I wanted to do, and I don't know if I've mentioned this yet, all the hearts are connected to clouds. I mean, all these little cloud beings are connected to clouds, because I noticed in platformers, there's always, whenever there's a platform that you can stand on, there's usually a piece of background, and it just looked a lot better. I was like, oh, this immediately makes the game look better. So we know what the idea is. You're supposed to know to put that down, right? The other thing is monoliths don't display their hearts in the same way, because they're constantly displaying it, because it's not an internal heart, it's a core. So you jump up here and in search for another heart, and you see one there. You can't take it yet. That's a trick. That's a lie. You can't even get that one. You should use it to get up here, and it's possible to break this puzzle, which is why I had to have the load, because if you fall now, you just can't get up, because you need this second heart that I've got here. So again, what I'm learning is you need to be able to see all the puzzle elements. It's all well and good to have people explore, but there's no way of exploring that if you've failed the puzzle already. So there needed to be an alternative way to see that block. The other thing I'd learned is that double jump is making my life harder. There you go, I almost broke the puzzle right there. I was really lucky to get that in time. So this double jump is basically makes it so I can get anywhere, so I'm having to put everything really far apart, and it's just making my life more difficult, which is the other reason I removed double jump. So now we can access all the hearts. So, another issue. So, I put that on the middle one. Although, you'll notice it bounced off that one there, because the code says if it hits one, then it's fulfilled. Which I have since fixed. There you go. Oh, and there you go. That's a... if you heard that, I had to pull the plucker twice, which is an error that nobody saw apart from me, and it annoyed the hell out of me. But it caused other issues, and eventually, one of the testers' games kept on crashing, and I thought it was that. So I was like, I put so much effort into making sure, like, why would it produce the sound? Because it started the process in the programming. But not finished, so I needed to have all these checks and balances to go, no, the process is either happening or it's not, and if it's not happening, then don't do a sound. Like, but then I was like, people would be able to pull, and nothing happens still, so I was like, no, it just needs to work. So now the code just says, just do it until it works. There we go. And there's this cool animation there where it pours in. And I also made it so you can tell the cloud belongs to that, so it's slightly yellow. I put so much work. This should be done with shaders, but shaders is a whole thing that I haven't figured out. Basically, if you're clever, instead of redrawing everything, you could just make the computer recognize that certain elements need the colors changed. And that shouldn't be too hard to program, I just don't know how to do it. So I realized, while making this, that I needed two things for the puzzles to work. The smog, which you've already seen, and the glass. Glass is a physical object that I can't step on, but I can scan through. And I don't like the design of it, but I'm keeping it because I don't want to create more work for myself. So yes, I can scan this, put it in there. We can get to our next section. Save our game. The puzzle that nobody solved. So this is the left side of Ojo, the divided. Somewhere to his right is his right side, and his heart. Both sides are linked. So you may recognise this design because it's from. I stole it. I was inspired by one of the Pink Floyd albums, Wall. So the idea is that album, the two faces combine to make one face. But I had to painstakingly invent dithering because I was like, oh no, I've got this really simplistic art style, and now I need to shade around thing, and I just had to create a dithering effect. And you couldn't even copy and paste from left side to right. When you see the right side, you'll see, like, because of reasons, I had to draw the entire thing again. So this puzzle down here, nobody figured out. The idea is, you're supposed to go, oh, I want to go over there, don't I? And this requires 3. Where am I going to get 3? You have a look around, and you go, well, and here's the problem, just nobody knows how they are. If you look, there's one up there. There's clearly one here, right? And you might go, okay, I'll take this. And you can see, because it's orange, it's sitting on this bit. So you should be able to use it, jump across, which is something I want a version of this puzzle, by the way, in the game. I will keep this, just not, I won't tie it inexplicably to another puzzle. So if you pick up that heart, it's going to fall all the way into there. Bear in mind, I can't jump with this, so I'm now forced to put it in there. That is this. So I've broken the puzzle, but luckily we can load it. I have to grab this again. Up here. So the idea is this guy has a heart? No, he doesn't. He's supposed to. Is this broke? Oh, no, of course. I forgot how to solve my own puzzle. There you go. You can grab this heart. And it's broken. Okay. Yeah, this is poorly designed. So yeah, you need to grab you stand here. So this is where I figured out I need to have ramps. There are two important reasons why I need ramps. One, just because of situations like this. Well, if you're glued to the floor, how do you ever get higher? And the answer is you can walk on ramps upwards. So Sean Spalding does have a ramp tutorial, but I did have to botch it, which I'll explain more later when I introduce ramps in the next version of the game. So yes, you can now put it up there, like so. You're supposed to just do this later. You're supposed to realise, like I've made it so you can't grab it from that. That's why the smoke exists. So now, pink clouds is new. So you'll notice this one is Raz, the host, fourth of the monoliths. He will gladly bear your heart for you until you return. So if you put the heart in this one here, like the other one, he will make the cloud solid. Oh, this bug. I wonder if I can fix that. I hate that bug. Oh no, I did. I figured out how to fix it. What's happening is, because that heart exists, there's just a bit of code that doesn't read for like a split second for a step. And it doesn't realise until I'm away. I don't know why it does it. But I can botch it by just having a solid object sit there at the same time. And then it's fine. But in this case, I'm not sure it'll work because I've got to be able to turn it on and off. I'll have to see. I'm pretty sure I did solve it. Anyway, put it in here. Got a pink cloud. And I wonder what happens when you jump on the pink cloud. Hopefully it should be obvious what happens. You bounce. So people did figure this out, but not everyone. Well, that's clumsy. But you should hopefully see this and you go, oh, it's connected. And then you realise, oh, I've got to put it there. Through the glass. Now that's solid. I can get over here. Lovely. Save my game. This is when I realised I didn't have to draw using the way they were drawing it, so like the drawing of the amber gets a lot better. And this bit, I think this bit is just in the next version of the game. But yes. So the idea of this is you have to. Well, but you cannot jump while holding this, so you're forced to use these. And there you go, the bit that everyone hated, the bit where I force you to use the wall jumps. And there you go. And there's a bit of this puzzle that's broken, which somebody discovered for me. Your instinct, if you've played any puzzle game before, damn it, John. So I eventually make these wider as well. Because these aren't supposed to be skill challenges. Also, there's I did put a ledge here. Like, there are many versions of this demo. This is just one I found on my computer. But the instinct for somebody who knows how to play games is to grab that heart. And if you do, you can't do the next bit, because this one's Oax, the Fragile, fifth of the monoliths. He is nothing without a heart. I don't know why I decided to speak entirely in code. So the idea is you can pluck this heart from him, but only if you don't have a heart on you, and it will just break. You don't even get the heart. That animation, super proud of it. Like, a lot of work went into drawing and animating that. But it's just a way, that's a door. It's just a door. And getting here, well, this one is the right side of Ojo. They're divided. Together, they are the 6th monolith. Heart within can be passed back and forth. You can see the cloud is subtly green. So, I can now... You can only grab his eye on one side. If I do that, it doesn't go to me. It goes to the other side. And you can see that cloud's turned off. I've saved it, so that puzzle's done. So now you can see... And a lot of people did this and then still didn't get the puzzle right. The idea is you can now push this and use it to solve a puzzle. So you can now it doesn't matter if you turn that back. Oh, there you go. So I need to get this heart here. So this is a map, like, this puzzle would sort of make sense deep into a game. I mean, it's not very well designed, but conceptually the puzzle would make sense if people knew what they were doing. And this is supposed to be a beginner version of the game, right? To teach people how to play. So the idea is you move this down here within reach. This guy. So, and I cannot overstate how much work it took to just have that heart transfer from that like that, and the animation it pouring in, and having the game just understand where the object is. That was a lot of work. So you can see this orange heart here. It's supposed to be a clue, I guess. We take this and add it like so. We have one of our 3. Push this here. So that cloud, it does break, but you can see this is a see-through cloud, so it doesn't let the amber through. That's the idea. I've never explained that to a player, but... and there's our 3rd cloud, in a place that nobody can goddamn see it, John. And the idea, I grab it from here, and you can't actually get it out, because you need that, this thing here. There you go. Oh, there's no pull. Oh, there is. Now we can take this. Put it there. Take that. Put it there. And we've solved a puzzle. And nobody figured out. And I guess the hardest bit that I inexplicably put in the game, which was a bloody jumping puzzle. What, John? So the idea for this one is... I wanted to use all the clouds in the different combinations. So you can see they're bouncing on those walls. Because I needed to figure out a way of how do I stop the clouds where I want them to without actually giving people places to jump. So you notice, oh yeah, you can get to the end pretty easily. But all these clouds don't have hearts in. They don't have faces, see? So where is it? Well, if you... It's here. The idea is you can get that one. But now you can't jump. So how do you do this puzzle? Well, it's the same as the one above, but it's like a slightly skillful version. Why did I do that? I don't know. Because I hate my players. And you can see I eventually added all these little dots because it was just too hard. And now you can access that area there and get to the end. So you can destroy this block like so. Find ourselves. This is another reason for the ramp. Find ourselves with the determined cloud. But the first time we were here, we didn't have the scanner. Now we can take that from him and shoot it into the world heart, and we have successfully finished version 2 of the game. This thank you for playing screen is actually from the first version. We just didn't get to it. It's quite funny. The ending was tied to a different bit of code. I didn't even know it was there when I did it. But yes. What can I say about that I haven't already said? So this took a lot of work, as I said, and nobody got to the end. a couple of people watched me and they said, "Oh yeah, it looks quite good," but the people who played never got past that puzzle that was split. Like they even did the top section. They just didn't know that you had to get those 3 pieces from there, so they never saw the end. So I was like, you know what? Puzzles need to be self-contained. So that's the first thing. Puzzles need to be self-contained. I learned that. Uh, Double jump, wall kick, just gone. All these weird skill elements, gone. I needed to be a lot more clear with the tutorial. So we're gonna see version 3 next, and that version has all my proposed changes in. So I've been John Proxy. No, sorry, that's my Let's Play name. I'm John Stebbins, that's my real name. The developer of Tyrantagonist Games, a totally real company. And I'm making a game called Pluck Hearts, or it's called Heartswap in this. Anyway, thank you for playing, and thank you for watching.